Albany, and welcome to Down the Street. I'm your host, Stephen Corporellis. People and businesses that make up our community, as well as highlight specific events and services you might not know about happening just down the street. Each program will highlight a specific street in the West Hill, Arbor Hill, Park South, and West End neighborhood of Albany. So sit back, take a walk with us.
Hi, my name is Anthony Capice. I'm the Executive Director of the Central Avenue Business Improvement District. Basically, the Central Avenue bid runs from Lark Street along Central, Lower Washington, runs 3 miles up Central Avenue to the Colony Town line. The Business Improvement District encompasses 510 businesses that range from small stores that are family run, have been in business for so many years, to businesses that have been in business for over 100 years. Some of our car dealers have been around for 100 years, if you can believe that. And then again, like I said, we have some mid-sized businesses or second-generation businesses, some third-generation businesses. It's quite an interesting mix of residential, it's a mix of commercial. There are different types of commercial businesses that range from the restaurants. We have, for example, 80 different places to eat on Central Avenue, from food courts in the supermarkets to the fast food places to 18, actually now it's 19 nations being represented in food from all the different cultures. And then within that, there's the different types of, there's not just one type of Chinese restaurant, there's not just one type of Vietnamese restaurant. As far as food goes, the bid is very diverse and very creative, and the business owners are exciting. Again, just to think about the different areas of the Central Avenue bid that we manage here as an association. If you start at Lark Street and start to work your way west, the lower part of Central Avenue, we kind of call that the Main Street portion of Central Avenue. And you can kind of define it visually as what, it's sort of a corner between that and Lark. And the storefronts are all right up against, the street sidewalk, and they're close to the edge of the road. And you're going to see that's lined with small shops for the most part, local. There's a few franchises sprinkled throughout there, but then you've got a mix of things like lawyers and legal aid type clinics and service providers and things like that, which are right in the neighborhood where people live. And as you move a little further out, again, using the lower portion as say in Central Avenue, it's 3 miles just on Central. That lower portion is about a mile of that sort of Main Street section. As you get towards mid-block Central Avenue, it tends to open up a little bit. You start to see the big box, these are McDonald's in there. There's a traditional long-standing plumbing supply company, a marble company that brings marble in from Italy and places from all over the world, some of the most outstanding service companies in that area, which we're very proud to have here and want to keep here. And then you go a little further out, you're going to find some retail shops, some more residential, high-rise residential. You get into some of the neighborhoods. You're going to find, like we also go down North Allen Street, which you're going to find places like McVeigh's Funeral Home, Pepper Jack's, National Business Supply, so there's copier companies. Then as you get towards that last mile of Central Avenue, or Waterville Avenue, basically, you can kind of see it. If you're a city resident, you'll understand where it kind of it blows out into a whole different type of city. Which is really from a planning perspective, you look at it as the city expanded, you can kind of see how the planning changed. They allowed for wider footprints and all that sort of stuff, not right up to the curb like the lower portion. So now out there you're going to see the gas station, you're going to see the supermarkets. We have 5 supermarkets from the Onsway Food Co-op, ShopRite, Price Chopper, Hannaford, little convenience stores, Asian markets, all that type of thing. So and at that west end, it blows up even more when you talk about the car dealers. We have all the major car dealer franchises here, and then a lot of independents, plus all the service industries that go along with that. So you can get tinted windows, you can get loud radios, you can get anything you want that services your car, tires, parts, all that sort of stuff. So we think along Central Avenue, you're talking several thousand employees, thousands of people who live just within a block of Central Avenue. And as a business improvement district, our goal is to try to make that as much of a good place to do business as possible. When we started this in 1998, there were over 100 vacant storefronts on the street of Central Avenue, and it was in pretty rough shape. There was a lot of flight out of the city kind of stuff. We're just dealing with all that from generations. As the Woolworths and those types of stores left the cities to become parts of malls and all that, the BID suffered from that, or Central Avenue suffered from that. And the good news is the property owners banded together, decided to form their own firm, and there's 3 firms like us, business improvement districts in the city, banded together and decided to stem the tide of that and to put into place tools that other cities have been using. There's nearly 2,000 bids in the country between the United States and Canada, more or even across the world. They call them different things. And what happens is the property owners band together and they use their own financial resources as part of the city tax base. It's collected, and part of it comes to run this organization. And I report to a board of directors that are all property and business owners, and they determine what they think that we can afford to do that's going to make this a better place to do business. So over 500 businesses, we try to keep it diverse, we try to keep it interesting. And early on we focused on restaurants, car dealerships, keeping it to be the retail hub that we wanted it to be, but also making it a neighborhood. And that kind of leads us to why, although the folks that are predominantly along the Central Avenue corridor and some of our side streets, who are what I'll call part of the taxing jurisdiction of the Business Improvement District, our board has also felt that what happens to the neighborhoods to the north and south of our street are directly impacted by what we do, and they are directly impacted by what we do. So they can't be in silos, even though our laws and our regulations on how we run the agency are pretty defined. We can only do certain things. That doesn't mean we can't support and encourage improvements in the neighborhoods that surround the district, because in a way, and people laugh at me when I say this, but as business and property owners, if the value of our businesses and the properties increase, and more people live in the neighborhoods that surround the Business Improvement District, there's more of a potential for the businesses to be successful. So it's a kind, selfish thing to make the neighborhoods a better place, because the more people live there, the more people spend their money in the shops and stores and restaurants. So it's a good thing to take that as a means to go for a rising tide lifting all boats approach to commercial development. So when a group like the Lexington Avenue Work Group comes together and says, hey, we abut and cross over Central Avenue, we're concerned about our growth, we're concerned about business, we're concerned about the livability of our neighborhood, we have the science to not only participate and help, because we do it, we have the connections, we have the ability to understand, and we want to see that neighborhood thrive. And because it's good for us too. So again, we're doing it for the right reasons, but it's to make Central Avenue even better, to have strong neighborhoods like Lexington. And again, since we touch 7 neighborhood associations, you can almost imagine how I have to sort of divvy up my time and energy as best my resources allow. We're not the biggest agency in the city by any means. We're tiny by scope. But with all those neighborhoods that are attached to us, we have to try to respond as best we can to help all those folks out. We're small staff. Basically, there's 3 administrative people here, plus our cleaning crew that work 7 days a week, flowers, maintenance, all that sort of stuff. So when Lexington Avenue said, hey, we want to make it look better, there was a lot of trash and litter and things like that, could you help us with that? It's not outside of our realm of possibility for us to say, we can have one of our cleaning guys kind of help you out. We can't just give it away because our members have a defined area, but we can do it as a collective and work together and partner on things like that. We've partnered with Lark Street. We can certainly partner with Lexington. We have the capacity. We have excess capacity. We can help manage that. And I think we do a pretty good job, very affordably. I think it's only a couple $100 a year. So, how can you say no? It's a good deal. So the partners there of Lex have stepped up. we partner together, and it's an improvement to the neighborhood. And it would be really good if we could see a growth of not only residential but some commercial growth into Lexington Avenue that would feed into Central. And certainly it would be nice if there was a better stock of housing, improvements to the residential components of the street. All those types of things would really help Central Avenue a lot. So we want to participate in that as well. So for us, there is a reason for us to participate in Lexington Avenue and such other neighborhoods too. Lexington crossing over Central going southbound, and Lexington Avenue going northbound. The Lexington Avenue work group is not unlike how BIDS got started in many ways. In some communities, BIDS are important, some aren't. Having small community groups organize around a common core of interest in a neighborhood is pretty much what is a national model that is referred to often as the Main Street approach. There's different steps that you take. First thing is evaluating your strengths and weaknesses, collecting value in what you have and what you don't have and what your needs are, and that's kind of what the group is already working on, and we want to participate in that. And then calling upon whatever strengths they are. Some communities don't have a lot to go with, but the Lexington Avenue has a lot to go with. There's businesses there, there's people there, so you already have things that can make it work. And so working with that group, helping them focus in on defining those assets, defining the stakeholders, and moving forward with a good plan, we can help play a role in that. We're happy to participate in that. But that's I think a lot of people don't realize that's kind of where we lost our way in the country a little bit as far as Main Street and community. I think we kind of felt like everything had to be the role of government. Well, if the street's bad, they have to fix it. If their housing is bad, they have to fix it. They. And I think we became very dependent on they to fix everything for us, and we kind of said, that's not my job. And I think what groups like the Lexington Work Group, and certainly you can see them all around the city, they all have basically come to the terms that we have to make it a better place because we are invested in it. And I think that's why BIDS work. But I also, even if you don't have a business improvement district, a special district, key stakeholders can band together and solve problems, and fix and support assets too. So the Lexington Work Group for us, it's important because there's a group of community stakeholders that are committed to making something better, and to us that meets our goals. So we're very supportive of that. That's I think a key reason why we want to actively participate in that and support the effort of that. And our board, again, of directors, very keenly aware of the value of good quality residential neighborhoods that are adjacent to a huge commercial center like to Central Avenue. The future of the group, I think, is strong in a lot of ways. Once you start putting a group like that together and you start to find what you need, once you start to understand what tools you're going to need to put into place to fix problems or to support assets and grow what's there, the group matures. Early on, there's a lot of what in any organization that talks about organizational structure, and I remember learning that way back in school and college. It's like there's the storming phase, which nothing makes sense, nobody has any answers, and everybody's screaming at each other. And then there's the norming phase, and I think we're almost at that point where people are saying, okay, we've sort of laid out on the table everything. We know that's not working. We know what we have. Now we have to sort of put a plan together, and I think that's where the group is now. And I think they're starting to say, here's our plan, and here's some key stakeholders, here's our partners, by inviting us to participate and others. So now you're at that stage where you're norming. Now you're getting into an action plan. Okay, now we're going to do this. What are the resources we need to bring to the table, and how do we go forward? So I think the group is structuring itself. I think the future looks good for that. I think there's opportunity for them to find resources once they gather their strength and work on it. I think that's probably the great future of it. I would definitely say that we see a bright future for the Lexington Avenue connection, and certainly in partnership. We really want to play a role in that. I really see an exciting opportunity for some great residential development in that neighborhood that will work very well with the north and south connection of Central Avenue. I see neighborhood-sized retail, scaled perfectly, servicing the community in the neighborhood over there. I see physical improvements to the structure. I also see it being a little bit more green. I think there's a good idea to make neighborhoods a little greener and a little bit more human scaled. I think they kind of lost their way on that, a little too much concrete jungle kind of a idea. And I think you see some of the projects that have taken place, putting some trees in and some landscape. So I think we're all together on this, and I think everybody agrees that we want it to be a more livable place, something with vitality, not a little too much. We don't need dance halls and all that sort of stuff, but I think I really think it's going to be the type of thing that we can all work together, support. I think everybody kind of agrees on what we're looking for, and as a representative of the businesses on Central Avenue and our board of directors, we're thrilled to be a part of what the Lexington Group is doing, and everything in that whole neighborhood to the north of Central Avenue, along our 3-mile stretch. It's all pretty exciting. Things are starting to happen, and I think the city is really making strides to become a global city, and these neighborhoods are vital to that, especially with the diversity that we have in this. Those are strengths that we need to call upon and make it more than it is now, and be something really exciting for people to want to live and work and shop and do all that sort of stuff. So I'm pretty excited. So I'm glad to play a role in this. Hopefully what you can do is take a couple minutes to look at the video that we've put together. It kind of shows the neighborhood and what's going on here, and I think Lexington has the same opportunities that we have, that there's some really exciting things as far as arts, culture, and entertainment that are happening right in these neighborhoods, right in these blocks here, that make this kind of a cool place to live and play. And we've created an area that we call the Midtown Grid,